This is going to be a short tutorial on how to write a United Nations resolution. The first one that we're going to do in class is the zombie pandemic, but you can apply this to anyone you want. And when we write a sample one, the topic really doesn't matter, so you could practice with something else. But what you should have to start with is this Google Doc called Sample UN Resolution Template. And because we don't want to mess this one up, what you're going to do, make sure you're signed into Google. You should see your name and stuff up in the top right, is go File, Make a Copy. Okay, and I've already done that. So you'll get a copy that looks just like this. There are three basic parts to a resolution. There's the header that just has like the labeled information, who you are, what the topic is, who likes your bill, etc. Okay, and that's up here in blue. And you're going to fill in that stuff between the parentheses. Then we have the preambulatory clauses, and it sounds complicated, but it's really simple. You're going to write 3 reasons why we should have this resolution. It doesn't actually do anything, it just tells us why. And that's in purple right here between the parentheses. And then in the green down here, we're going to write 3 operative clauses. These actually do something, which is like the main part of your resolution. And there's some little tricks for each one. But what we'll do is we'll just write this in here in your copy. So I just put SC instead of copy of, but this is my own copy, and you should be able to edit yours as well. In fact, if you want, you can just hold Windows and hit an arrow key like left or right. And you could put this screencast video you're watching over here and type on the side, whatever you want to do. So let's get started. In the blue, what you're going to do is highlight all of that, including the parentheses, and put in your country's name. Okay, so let's say I'm Brazil. Simple enough. Okay, then signatories. This is really easy. We're going to delete that, and anytime you find a friend who, let's say China, reads your resolution and thinks, hey, that's a really good one, I really like it, and I'm definitely going to vote for it, you can have them sign on as a signatory, which just means put their country name on this line. So let's pretend I'm Brazil and I'm writing this, so I'm the sponsor, and then China and India are signatories. They really like my bill and told me, hey, put me down as a signatory. Okay, now topic, again, really simple. If I just highlight all this stuff, including the parentheses, we'll do one on the zombie pandemic. Okay, now that part's done. We're a third of the way done, and we're 3 minutes in. So this really isn't bad. Then right here you have the body that this is going to be presented to. And so just to be really simple for us, we're going to say this is the General Assembly, where there are 197 different countries roughly who can vote. But that's who this is going to be presented to. As a contrast, maybe if you had a security resolution, like to go into Syria and force Bashar al-Assad to give up his presidency in Syria, that would be a Security Council resolution, but this one's going to be General Assembly, so we'll leave it just like that. Now, the purple part, it might be easiest to see what a finished product is going to look like. So a past student who was Zambia, okay, he has his name, and the UK actually wrote this with him. These countries signed on as signatories, and then his topic was a zombie outbreak. He just has these 3 lines right here, okay, and these are what we call preambulatory clauses. All they do is tell us why this is a necessary issue. Like, why should we do something about zombies? And if you can't come up with 3 reasons why zombies are a big deal, or they're scary, or they're a threat, then who cares what your resolution actually does? Now, you can come up with more than that, but the rule we say is at least 3. To me, if you can come up with 10 great reasons why we need this resolution, you're going to get more people interested in being signatories and later on in voting it than if you could only come up with 3. But my rule is you got to have at least 3. Okay, and preambulatory clauses are going to be basically a sentence that end in a semicolon. That's why they're a clause, they're not a full sentence. And they have to start with one of these preambulatory phrases. Okay, so you can just pick one, and we're doing this for fun. Okay, so I'm going to delete this part. Let's say having considered. Sounds like one that I'm going to use. The YouTube video that you saw about zombies rising from their graves in Montana, I'll just make that fit the preambulatory phrase having considered, and then I end in a semicolon. Okay, so it's kind of like reason number one we should do something about zombies is having considered the fact that zombies have been rising from their graves in northern Montana since 2013. I'm just going to switch that to present tense R. Okay. Now, I'm going to do semicolon at the end of each of these, new line, and I'm going to pick a different one off this list. It really doesn't matter. Anything you want. Let's say my spelling's not as good when I'm talking, but that's why we have spell check. That should have been one word. Okay, so I took this preambulatory phrase, okay, off this list, and I made it into a preambulatory clause by adding a reason, okay? Just making this up. I'm going to end with a semicolon, return twice to a new line, okay? And I'm going to pick another one. Let's go bearing in mind. Okay, there's my preambulatory phrase. Now I need a reason, like what's something we are conscious of or bearing in mind. And let's say during the Cold War, people felt like atomic energy might be the end of the human race. So I'm going to go with bearing in mind zombies are the greatest menace humans have faced since the inception of atomic energy. And again, I'm going to end with a semicolon. That's not a habit that you have, but just check that at the end. Now, here's what's cool. I have 3 reasons why, okay, and they're written as preambulatory clauses. They start with the preambulatory phrase. And once I do that, I don't need any of this stuff anymore. Okay, I can just delete that, back up to the top, and I can go highlight that and make it black. Okay, so I kind of have a finished product. I'm 2/3 of the way done. Now the next part is I need at least, but not limited to, 3 operative clauses. Okay, again, if you look at Zambia, they, this is a sample someone did last year in one of my classes, encourages that all countries participate in understanding the pandemic and make an emergency system to notify other countries on what is happening in their country. Okay, so here's the difference. This is why we should do it. Okay, in the preambulatory clauses. This part is what are we actually going to do, which we call the operative clauses. And you number these. Okay, another fun trick is if you control B, the preambulatory phrase, that first little part, it makes it really obvious what it is. Okay, you don't have to do that, but it helps me. So we're going to number 1, 2, 3, which I already have for you. 3 things that you think we should actually do. So I'm just going to pick kind of ridiculous ones. And in fact, I'm going to try Google voice typing because I think that might be easier for me. Draws the attention to the need for an early warning system that exists in all nations, period. Gosh, technology is awesome. Okay, now I might have to go back and switch a few things. But see how I took draws the attention from this list? I'm going to make that bold. okay? And that's going to end, again, in a semicolon. So I'm going to do a new one. Pick one off the list. If you don't know what they mean, there's a couple ways to define it. If you hold Control-Shift-Y, you get the Research tab. So if you didn't know what deplores means, it's like we really don't like it. My favorite way also is you can just do your Google Dictionary extension that you guys should have in class, and you get a sweet pop-up right there. Okay, so let's use deplore. So something we really don't like. So let's say Google Voice Type, Control-Shift-S. Nope, that's snipping tool. I have too many shortcuts. Deplores the notion of human civilians having their brains consumed by zombies. Caught an extra word I didn't want there. Okay, kind of like that thought really scares us. Like we don't want that to happen. Okay, semicolon. And let's do another one. Let's do a positive one, like expresses its hope. I'm going to make that bold so I can tell that's my operative phrase there at the start of that operative clause. Let's go expresses its hope. Expresses its hope that all UN member states will work together, especially the wealthy ones, comma, to support all nations in preventing a pandemic that might end the human race. Period. Sweet. Okay, now expresses its hope is my operative phrase, so I'm going to make it bold. UN member states. I probably should put a comma here. That doesn't need to be capitalized. Now, the only time you use a period is at the end of your last operative clause. Okay. Now, you could do 5 different things. You could have something about containment systems, what to do with zombies once they show up, how to stop travel to other states, early warning systems, whatever you want. Okay, so say you could put 5 of these. The only time you put a period is at the end of the last one. Now again, like I did with the preambulatory part that was in purple, I can delete all that green stuff, back this up. Okay, I think I have mine indented a little bit too far. Okay, and line these up. I don't know why that's not lining up neatly. Okay, that'll work, I guess. And here's what I end up with. Okay, I have my labels stuff at the top. I'm Brazil, China, and India are signatories because I really like my resolution. My topic is a zombie pandemic. Okay, this is for the General Assembly. And I have these 3 reasons why we should do something about zombies, which we call our preambulatory clauses. They end in semicolons. They start with preambulatory phrases from the list in purple. I can delete the purple stuff when I'm done. Now, here's what I actually do, which we call your operative clauses. They start with operative phrases that were in green. They end in semicolons except for your last one. Now, once you have that, you're going to submit that for your resolution or share it with your class, whatever your teacher tells you to do. And now you should be able to write a UN resolution, not just on zombies, but on anything you want. So if anything didn't make sense or I went too fast, just go ahead and take your little slider and back the video up. But thanks for watching, and hopefully you can write a good UN resolution now.